a technical session. So this week, I had upgraded my outgoing network, and I had to change some of my networking hardware a little bit. So took me a while to get things back to running, but I believe I'm back and running. Whisper Demon's back and running and uploading. And so I feel much more comfortable now after hassling with the network for a while to get uh, figure out the differences between what I had and what I have now and getting it configured. So that's what my week was doing that. So that's it for me. And next on the list is Nathaniel, W2NAF. Go ahead.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I've been continuing to work with all the different projects here at Scranton. Elmer Musser came up on Friday, worked with Jonathan and me, did some tests. And then this weekend I did, and I also replaced the router in my house. So I have a new router here and I think it's working, which is very nice. And then this weekend we operated CQ worldwide from University of Scranton and W3USR, and we made almost 300 QSOs, I think. And we really focus a lot on operator training. So I think we have a lot more students and operators in the control operators that have a better idea of how to operate the station. So that was very good. Back to net.
I forgot to mention one other thing that came out of the TAPR annual meeting is Bruce Raymond stepped down this year, and we had to elect a new, get a candidate for a new board member. We haven't had the elections yet. Um, and what the candidate that volunteered was Dave Whitten. So, um, and because we only had uh, one candidate for each of the three openings, we accepted him by acclamation.
That's
So,
wonderful.
uh,
So Dave is now a board member, Dave Whitten. And
yes,
again, thank you, Dave. We really appreciate it. And then I guess at our next meeting, we'll draw straws and see who
for
gets to do what among the board.
yes,
Okay.
we're still working on it, but
I think Dave, I think Dave Larson still gets the short straw, but we'll see.
yes, um, the well, there'll be my time. I'll do my share. But we also have been doing a lot of work to improve the bookkeeping and finances, and that's mostly due to John Ackerman. And I wanted to thank him for all that he's done in that. It's been a big task, and it forever takes on the treasurer job next. It'll make it a lot easier. So anyway, I wanted to mention that. So next on the list, well, let's talk to Paul Elliott. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Hi, everybody. Not a lot to say, really. I will be, thank you, Nathaniel. I will be, I hope, using this very same Zoom meeting channel sometime this coming week, I hope, to arrange get-togethers people to talk about this new RX 888 variant, the simplified, modernized version that I'm, working on, not very quickly, unfortunately. But Dave, Whitten, I think you've seen the email about that. But if anybody else is interested in participating in that, and this is, I just please let me know, and we'll try to come up with a time that works for everybody. I'm guessing, Nathaniel, are there other days and times on this that I should, that are already spoken for on
No,
this Zoom meeting?
this link is only used for this meeting.
Okay.
So you can, at least it's only officially used for this meeting.
Yeah.
Other people might be using it that I don't know about, but Yeah, so you can have whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Franco's been participating in this discussion, and he's asked that we have it earlier than I guess it's 9 o'clock over at your end of the country. It's 6 o'clock over where I am. So it'll be earlier than that. So I'll send email around to the people I know who want to be involved, and we'll come up with a time and date. But again, if anyone else is interested, and Scott Newell, yes, you nobody's going to be in
Yeah,
the way at this point. Love to have you participate in that.
really
So
like Scott's input.
Yes.
yeah, so I'll add Scott to my list right now.
The important thing to remember is we're first wanting to get a prototype that just works and
Mhm.
not worry about new features at this point.
Well, that's certainly been my goal. Is keep the features we want, throw away the features we don't want, and try not to add anything else. But there are some options that I think should be considered. So that's what the Zoom meeting and then, follow-on discussions
Yeah.
are going to be about, I hope. I just don't want to get too far down on the design path and, not have input from, I hate this word, but from the stakeholders.
Yes.
Um, so anyway, we'll see how that goes.
And
And again, anybody, just please let me know. And if you're disruptive, I'll kick you out, so don't worry about it.
the other thing about it is we'd like to do many small iterative steps as opposed to making a big order and then having a bunch of units that don't work.
Well, again, the first one will be a prototype run. We haven't decided who's going to actually manage that prototype run. I'm kind of hoping it's Tapper, but if need be, I
Yeah.
can do it from my end. But again, we're not that far in the discussion yet. But no, we're not going to build 100 of these things first off. We're going to build 2 or 5 or some number like that. Once once we think we've got a design that will actually work,
Yeah.
and then we'll tweak it as need be before we and see if people actually, it's not clear what the demand is going to be for this either. I mean, we know there's
Right.
some demand, but that'll determine volumes. Anyway, that's a discussion that we have to have and not here. So
Yeah.
back. Yeah, and I guess I've got nothing else. Well, one more thing. I did get one of those my antenna, the 8010 end-fed half wave, the smaller, it's like 100-watt version rather than the kilowatt version that we had been using for whisper sonds. And I will be stringing that at my house down here in Occidental and making some measurements. I have no reason to think that it will be anything, it's going to work just as well as the big one, but I'm going to have one and I'm going to check it out anyway because I want a new antenna, so I might as well um, verify that works the way we think it will, because that will be certainly a less expensive antenna for future deployments of the whisper sound anyway. Okay, back to you, Dave.
Okay. Next on the list is Dave Whitten. Go ahead.
Well, I've been mostly trying to uh, clean up, hopefully have most of the new magnetometer software, at least the main piece, kind of feature complete. I hope. Um, but I keep finding little things where the features work, but not, in the order that I expect them to, and just have to rearrange things a little bit. But and trying to put together some documentation. So I have that all up on GitHub. Um, this is for use with the adapter, the pi eliminator little adapter that I've been testing, and can't really claim to, yeah, there's a board, but I just solder somebody else's board onto it, that to make it to make it so we can use it with the B-Links. And I think that's I finally feel like that's coming together. It's taken amazingly longer than I had imagined. But on the other hand, and I've tested a little bit on a B-Link, so far no indication that it's wrong, but making it so that it's buildable and installable and has documentation that people can understand is still, there's still some bits to do. So I guess we'll be having a meeting sometime sooner or later amongst some of the people who use it. It's going to be that's going to be a couple weeks out, though it sounds like. But I'm hoping to get some more of these boards made, though, I think, and um, uh, get them in the pipeline. So I have them. They're not very expensive to make, and but that's really been consuming almost all of my time lately. Um, Back to y'all.
Okay. Next on the list is Clint, K7OEI. Go ahead, Clint.
Hi. Let's see. My main projects, Ben, have been actually doing things on methods to quantifying methods and efficacy of interference reduction from doohickeys that are powered by whatever. We have houses full of oscillators these days that get into everything, and I've been tasked with a project where I need to quantify that and the efficacy of common methods and materials used to reduce it. One of the bigger problems is that that I was made aware of is that while I'm willing to go tear apart a device and add more filtering into it, you can't ask that of most people. Um, and as it turns out, unless you're willing to throw both capacitors and inductors, add a problem, you're actually very limited on how effective noise reduction can be. And I see an awful lot of junk science out there or things out there that I don't think people have actually tried. For example, some people actually think that clamp-on ferrite will do a darn thing in reducing interference on HF. I don't, but anyway, that is definitely not usually not the case. So I'm just trying to quantify how bad it is and what other options are there. And you'll eventually see the fruits of this work. But anyway, back to you.
Okay, well, it's a good project. Keep up the good work. And next on the list, we have Dave H, W6OQ.
Okay, good evening, everyone from Los Angeles. Let me see, radio-wise this week, I picked up a little side project with one of our local group that does after-school technical type stuff. The guy that's leading that is looking to set up a SatNog station. And so right now I'm looking at antennas that possibly high school students could build and like that. So that should be interesting. And Paul, I'd like to be on that call with the RX 888. So you're going to write down. So it's David dot A dot Hostetler, HOSTETLER at gmail.com.
Paul, you're muted.
Guys,
Okay, yeah, I was trying to be polite. Yeah, I'll read that back, David. Thank you. David dot A is in alpha dot Hostletter, HOSTLETER at gmail.com.
okay. HOS
Yes.
TET L-E-R.
Hostetler.
Yep.
Okay, I will
That might
add
even
you.
make it easier to pronounce, but maybe not by much.
Stetler. Okay, I think I got it. Thank you, Dave. Look forward to your participation.
Okay. Next on the list is Dave Julian, WB9YIG. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, good evening, folks. Not much going on here. Getting ready to do a little road trip up to Indianapolis. Going to take some training on the Emergency Operations Center up there for the state. So, getting things ready to go for that. That's about all. I'll be kind of incognito the rest of the meeting. I'll be listening. Thanks.
Okay. Next on the list, we have David McGaw, another TAPR board member.
Mhm. Yes, hi, and TAPR board member that wasn't able to get on the annual meeting between time and Zoom, whatever. Anyway, we still do our work. Not too much to report here. Getting cold as it's supposed to, and working on our satellite ground station. And I guess that's really about it tonight. So back to Ned. Oh, I would like to be in on the RX-888 replacement discussion. Thanks.
Okay. Next on the list is Jonathan, KC3EEY. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Hi, everybody. This week, I was primarily working on the last part or last board of the VLF system, and that's the VLF interface board. I'm trying to figure out, trying to decide the best way to do my ground planes, and what they would look like, and how big they need to be, and all sorts of stuff. It might seem like a fairly straightforward thing, but it's not, because on this board, this is where we maintain isolation. And the board is also going to be sitting inside an aluminum case. So my main issue is that I want to keep the loop, which is the between the VLF interface board and the VLF preamp, as isolated as possible. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that. Best way to do the layout and kind of emulate the way Paul did on his Raspberry Pi enclosure. I don't have the schematics of that, but hopefully with more discussion with the PI from ILDN, that would be in Irban, I could get those just to double check. But I think I have something close. And then finally I could pull the plug and order a prototype and test it. And like Nathaniel said, I was working with Elmer and Nathaniel on Friday, doing some testing. What I would like to do is discuss that tonight in the general discussion. Nathaniel sent me an email, but I did not get a chance to reply, but that was the next steps. So I wanted to discuss that in the general discussion. And also hopefully plan a meeting with Bill Engelke Friday or next Friday if he's available, if there's availability to discuss more about the VLF data ingress on the personal space station server. That's all I have. Back to the next.
Okay. Next on the list is Michael Howen, AC0G slash roaming.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'm in South Dakota in the Fort Pierre National Grassland boondocking, which is kind of fun. It's windy and a little cool and whatnot, but I've got some cows for some friends. I had a rainbow this afternoon that gave me company and that kind of thing. Any kind of fun. Um, haven't been doing a hell of a lot with respect to radio, obviously, but I was doing some experimenting with some coding to understand how to integrate a basic Python script with Radio D. And I think I figured that out and cobbled together a way to run the grape functions that we're using independently of Whisper Daemon, just as an experiment. Um, anyway, I am heading up to Fargo, and so I'll make sure I'm checking on the Dartmouth uh, box that I've got up there and make sure that's okay. And I know that Fargo is a site where I can profitably install a whisper sonde. I'll be there for the next 10 days or so, but my brother lives there, so in case a whisper sonde arrives later, I think he's probably capable of installing it if I'm not there. That's it for me. Back to Nat.
Okay. Next on the list, let's go Scott Newell in 5TNL.
Hey, that's pretty impressive what Michael's been working on. And
Yeah.
I'd like to congratulate Dave. I feel like I'm a little bit outnumbered. It seems like everybody else in here is a TAPR board member tonight.
Hey, we can change that if you would like.
No, I'm not.
Well, between work, weather, and family, I didn't even try to listen to SAQ, and I made no real progress on anything radio related again this week. I am a little curious. Does anyone know if these B-Links we're talking about have a Bluetooth adapter built in? And with that, I'll send it back to the dad. Thanks.
I don't know. Does anybody know for sure?
Yeah,
I-
they do. They have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in. I think they even have the, various flavors of Bluetooth.
So there's your answer, Scott. And let's see. Next on the list is Tom McDermott in 5EG.
Oh, good evening, Dave, everyone in the group. It's been working on the quad receiver, got it down to 4 wires left, and then start design rule checks. And I think I need another bypass every week. I find another bypass. So just working on it. The Infineon has the GPIF3 tool chain up on their webpage, but it's not downloadable. So I think it's in beta. Franco said he's going to try and get a link from Infineon to download it and test it. It's Windows only, and it's for building the state machine code for the FX10. So that's about it. Back to the group.
Okay. And I don't see Phil, but I do see Rob. So Rob Robinette, go ahead.
All right. Yes, I'm here. I'm mostly, as I've been saying, I've been working on the servers. The scrapers are working, I think, quite reliably. I have a pair of them now, redundant pair that are scraping WhisperNet and recording everything to all the WhisperNet spots to separate ClickHouse databases. And Phil Barnard, who runs the Whisper.rocks web pages, has offered me a version of web page that I can configure to talk to those, so we can verify that his web pages are compatible. And as we would hope and expect, these Dell servers are quite a bit faster. I mean, quite a bit faster than the Whisper.live that Arnie has been maintaining since my stuff went down. My servers went down in May. So with a few more, it's up to Phil when he wants to decide to make it my server is the default. But in any case, he and I are now satisfied. So the next stage of this and the last stage of the server project is to record the extended spots that are produced by Whisper Daemon sites. That's about, I think the last time I checked, about 40% of all the spots reported to WhisperNet came from Whisper Daemon sites. Of course, these include the Whisper Daemon grape sites as well. So the extended spots include information that Gwen has found very useful in his analyses and presentations. So we want to get those spots back online and available from a ClickHouse database. So that's just, that I get distracted. And most recently, today was a day that I spent working on compatibility with the new PSWS server. It appears that many, if not most, of the Whisper Daemon sites, I don't know about other ones, the Whisper Daemon grape sites, were unable to log in SFTP to the PSWS server, the new server. It appears that this is associated with just not having the right public key file on the account. But anyway, Bill has been very responsive, and we'll work through it. But I have basically all 5 of the KFS antennas were failing to be able to log in, so they couldn't upload their data. So I could actually, in this process, I was hoping I might be able to recruit some help, because you just have to go and look at the site and see it, make sure it can, the site can log in. I don't know, there's 30 of them now, and just trying to keep track of which ones have been updated and what they're working and so on is becoming, I'm overlooking things. I just can't keep them all in. So I met a system that monitored the systems. I do get emails from the PSWS server saying that a site is down, but I think it stops sending after a few days. So it's not, we haven't had no uploads from many Whisper Daemon sites, and yet I'm not aware of which ones are still uploading and which are not. And so that's really the challenge, because I want to turn my attention to things like meteor scatter recording and other other features. So.
Rob, are you looking for a short-term fix to recruit people to look at these things, or are you looking for a long-term fix?
I think we need to consider this as kind of the beginnings of what we need for long-term monitoring of Whisper Daemon Daisy sites.
Right. So that officially comes under Christina Collins's job responsibilities of being the chief operations scientist. And part of what she's supposed to do, and we are doing, is to work with Bill Engelke to improve the monitoring tools on the actual Alabama server. And so of course that's a process right now, because we're doing this design charrette where Christina's collecting all of these suggestions on how to improve the system, which would include putting in monitoring tools. And then once we get that collected, then we're supposed to work with Bill Engelke to officially come up with a work plan to prioritize those things and to come up with a work plan. But I think what I'd encourage you to do is reach out to Christina, and if you have ideas, or if you want to try getting more help, work directly with her. And if you want me to be on that call too, I'll be happy to be a part of this as well.
Okay, well, I think it would be good. In addition to software, I think there also needs to be a person
Mhm.
has ownership of this.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a good thing for me to be the ownership of it. I'm happy to work through and debug stuff. But
Yeah.
I had as an example,
Yeah.
I've been recording WAV files and archiving them to an external hard disk at KFS.
Yeah.
Well, it was only today when I went and looked at it that I found that the disk is dying, and it's
Mhm.
and so it's write error, so it's not recording anything. So
Mhm.
so it needs a new disk if it's going to record to the external hard disk. And those are just there'll be many other failure modes of these systems.
Yes.
Uh, and so there needs to be a human in the loop at some point. And
Yeah.
and
And
I,
maybe that would be good to recruit a volunteer. Like if we can get a volunteer to be that human in the loop,
yeah.
that might be good.
Okay. Well, anyway, I will send a note to Christina and
Mhm.
CC you about could we discuss how to monitor these DAISY sites. So okay.
Yeah.
That's my that's my biggest challenge right now. It's just they trying to get everything back into operation after the server change and changes and on my end on Whisper Daemon client software too. I've significantly enhanced the error detection and recovery from uploads from what I was doing before. Now that I have a better idea, having done it for myself, Whisper Daemon basically mirrors what the PSWS does server. I've adopted the upload mechanism SFTP, individual accounts, pre-shared key authentication only. Basically the same set of and I think that not only the requirements, but actually the implementation of I've done is probably very similar to what Bill has on the PSWS server. So it's best practices as far as I can tell, what he's done it. Anyway, that's it for me for right now.
Okay. Well, I don't see anybody else on the list that I have not called on. So at this point, we're open for general discussion.
All right, I've got some general discussion. What? Oh, Clint walked away. I was going to dispute his contention that clamp-on ferrites do absolutely nothing because at least as far as reciprocity is concerned, I've used them plenty of times on marine radio installations and also at my house on my USB cables when my transmitters, the end of the antenna is on the other side of the wall, and they can make a big difference. Now, yeah, with different impedance levels, and that's all on HF. And I know Clint's talking about using the proper ferrites too, not the crappy ones. But anyway, I'm just saying that it can work to some extent in some cases. So, Clint, I don't know if you heard that, but
Yeah, well, what I'm talking about, more or less things radiating crap. I mean, the best I've ever found you get out of almost any ferrite alone might be 2S units. You're lucky if you can get 20 dB.
Well,
And
it depends entirely on what type ferrite you're using and how
well,
many of them.
well,
And the problem, the reason they might have a bad reputation is because most of the ferrites you just get off the shelf, like if you were getting them at Radio Shack or something, they're designed for VHF, UHF, and they're not designed for HF.
here's the use case, and here's how they're sold. You get a big ferrite and you clamp it on a cord of a washing machine, and your QRM goes away.
okay.
That does
You're
not happen. That absolutely does not.
correct. Correct. No, it has to be
No.
properly applied. And I'm sorry, I was
No,
reluctant to bring this up because I know we're going to be angels. How many angels can dance on the head of a pin
right,
stuff pretty
right.
soon here? So anyway, I just wanted to,
Well,
make sure that we
but-
understood there's some finesse required here.
No, if you really want to knock it down, you use a toroid and you wrap the cord around it. But there's so many different types of ferrites. I mean, we do stuff down into the LF and VLF, and you have to use a very high permeability
Well, yeah, I mean,
toroid to kill it.
well, right. I mean, it all depends too. I mean, if you want to make the kill rim from a device go away, you almost never can make it go away totally with ferrite alone. I mean,
Right.
you almost never can.
Ferrites and capacitors.
Right, exactly.
I'll take a 20 dB reduction over nothing at all, over a
Well,
0
true.
dB.
True, but I've run across, and I've gone over to Ham's house where, yes, okay, knocking it from 10 over to S8 would be great, but they still can't hear much below. They still have an S8 noise floor. I ran across. There's a Ham who, the S word, solar, and it was an original N-phase 180 microinverters, and that was just insanely bad. He got the manufacturer to spend like $3,500 in putting in ferrites, could lift up the panels and put it on. He said it maybe made an S unit and a half difference, maybe, but he really couldn't tell. So it was, I mean, would you rather get stabbed 30 times or just 20 times? I mean,
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful distributed noise source there.
right.
Hey, one other thing I wanted to mention, just encouraging to me anyway, is I'd mentioned our STEM class here in Friday Harbor. Well, I'm in Occidental now, but up in Friday Harbor, and I'm now a volunteer examiner for ham licensing. And on November 12th, there are going to be 8 students who are ready to want to take the ham test, and one of them wants to test all the way up from general to extra at the same sitting. So that should be fun. Anyway, so that's again signs of life in the younger generation. That's just, I love it. I really do.
Yep.
Hope it works out for all of them.
Yeah, we've got a good organization on this coast, New England SciTech in Natick, outside of Boston. That's really good. They have middle school and high school students getting involved. It's a maker space and a very active ham club.
Yeah, it's encouraging.
In our
really.
local maker space, we're trying to get that going as well. Not quite as successful as New England SciTech, but the idea is there.
Yeah,
And,
I met him when I went up to the convention in
Yes.
August, and he is impressive.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Bob,
Bob Finney.
Bob Finney, what he has done, what he does with those students and what he has done is really impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, up in Friday Harbor, we've got a very active teacher who's really encouraging and just got his ham license and really has a good attitude. So, which is a lot better than the previous STEM teacher. So, again, I'm encouraged, and I like
By
that.
the way, I think they were the first to administer tests online during COVID as well. If not the first, they were one of the first.
So, anyone else? I think I'm done with my ranting and raving here. Oh, so okay, back to my X888 project, or maybe our X888 project, I hope. Does anybody, as long as, so we got a bunch of us here, does anybody have a favorite day of the week, favorite time of the day? I'm thinking 5 p.m. West Coast time, which would be what, 8, or it could be earlier, it could be any time. I'm really flexible because I'm retired. Does anybody have a day or a date or a time that works for them? can eliminate any right now. Otherwise, I'll just put a list in the email and see who bites.
When are we talking?
So
Which,
this coming week, I hope.
okay, this coming week. Okay,
And if not the week after, it's
sure,
not.
sure. Uh, well, this present week, on Friday, both Thursday and Friday, I'm kind of tied up that time of the, at
It-
what's 3 o'clock in the
it-
afternoon personally, but just, but I don't think usually next, well,
There, I think Rob was using an online calendaring thing, where people signed up, checked off what worked for them and what didn't. Rob, did you? I think that
I've
was you, wasn't
forgotten.
it?
Yeah, it was me, but I've forgotten where I found it. It was something
Uh,
like Meet Me or something dot com or something that was the website where you could uh, do that. I could try to dig it up for you, Paul.
yeah, if you would. I mean, it I I used it. I don't know if anyone else did, but it seemed
it's a
reasonably.
yeah. You could say when you were available, and it would figure out a time that
Yeah.
overlapped everyone. And
Okay.
then
Yeah, Rob,
okay.
please send me the link. I mean, I could look for it, but it'd be easier
Oh,
for me if you just sent me the
I
link.
sent out the emails that had to do with set up a meeting.
Oh, well, I could search for that too.
That one was for we were meeting to talk with Sherry Bolger, right? About I think that was
I
about
think so. So it was
uh,
back several weeks ago,
Yeah.
yeah.
but
I
I
just got
can.
an
Paul, I would suggest that you, David Witten and uh oh, who else was it?
Scott wanted to join. I of
Scott
course
wanted, but I
yeah.
mean the people that have already uh are doing specific parts of the project. Make sure those people are there and then just allow anybody else to attend if they can make it.
Yeah, I mean, but for the first one, if there's no reason not. If we can pick a time where all interested
Yes.
parties, are free, then might as well pick that time. So I'll, and if need be, we'll start whittling it down. Yeah, Franco had already. Scott's mentioning that Franco would be the one to ask, and
Yes. Franco, you
he had
and I don't know
he
if
had.
Tom is interested in this or not. It's sort
Well,
of a side
I've got the
project to
list.
him.
I've got the list of names here. People who have already raised their hand at one point or another.
Yeah.
Franco is asked. He was the one that asked that we do it um, earlier than the 9 p.m. Eastern time of this meeting. So we'll try to make it earlier. Anyway, I'll send out some email. We'll come up with
Okay.
something.
You could put out a poll.
Oh, well, that's what this email. That's what the thing that Rob used. It it's a sort of a calendar where everyone signs up their, indicates the times they're available, and then
Yeah, that's
it'll find the intersection there, and we can all, sounds like a good idea.
very good.
Okay, now I'm done.
Jonathan, did you want to chat now?
Yes.
Sounds great.
Okay, I guess I'll say goodnight then. Gotta have dinner with my wife here, and
Yeah.
see you guys
Hey,
around.
Paul.
Thanks,
I'll look
Paul.
for your email, Paul.
Okay, thanks, Rob.
So Jonathan, I guess I was asking in the email is what I'd like to do is put two of the production style VLF systems side by side at my house, and then have one that we leave completely, with the unmodified original design, and then have the other one that we could make some modifications to, like putting some of those capacitors across, and then have them both record identical data over a somewhat extended period of time. Would you be able to provide those two systems?
Yeah, I can do that. I don't really think it's gonna show anything that life changing.
Yeah.
Like I think it's gonna show what's obvious.
Mm-hmm. And that may be so, but what I found, the unmodified system, I don't know, it's really the unmodified system that we looked at the other day after you left. We brought the RX 888s back online, and the interference across the entire HF band is extremely strong. And when we had the, just one or two capacitors on, or when we did some of those modifications that that Elmer had suggested, it did bring it down significantly. And I know that one of those tests in the past, you had said you couldn't hear a difference. And so far, we've all been going off of your ear. And I'd really like to see this in a way that we can really demonstrate that either on actual data, that yes, there's a difference in the data, or no, there isn't, or if it is, somewhat limited, do we still capture something useful? And I think if we do this, I mean, you're building these systems anyway. So this is putting them out in the field over here is also a good way to get them tested and make sure that we have all the bugs out of those systems. So I think this would be a really good way to go forward.
So I know that Elmer has kept on saying, and he keeps on saying that that there's going to be trade-offs.
Mm-hmm.
That there's always going to be trade-offs. That there's some level of interference that is going to have to be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And so because my concern was, oh, that's disappointing. Nothing on SAQ. Yeah, that's disappointing. But anyway, so he kept on saying that there's going to be some level of interference that I guess we would have to accept. But the thing is, like we're gonna put all this energy and effort into putting out a system that we could send them a super SID kit and it would accomplish the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because
but we have so far, there has been no side by side test that demonstrates that, like, okay, if you put one of these systems out, what specific signatures are you worried about missing?
So remember, so I'm worried about missing the natural radio emissions, the stuff that occurs from 1 to 5 kilohertz.
Okay.
And like so I mean, if that band is washed out due to harmonics,
right,
then what we basically have is we basically have a system that's good enough for SIDS,
Okay.
monitoring VLF transmitters,
Right.
and that's useful too.
Yeah.
But
So I understand that. But then, so my next question though is, how often do you see these natural emissions?
well, it depends on latitude. It depends on um, it depends on location. Now, where we are, they don't seem to happen very much.
Okay.
I mean, they tend to happen more in the spring and the fall.
Okay.
But that uptick seems to be the case everywhere. However, there were other latitudes and other locations depending on their conjugate. So if their conjugate gets a lot of thunderstorms, then we're going to get a lot of whistlers. When we get aurora and geomagnetic storms, certain latitudes and locations will get dawn chorus, will get risers. And this is the stuff that I want to record and I want to capture because no one else has a network of VLF receivers that can automatically monitor for these signals and report them. Like this is kind of new, and
Right.
and so these natural radio emissions, if we could get good sites, where we have low power line noise, low harmonics,
Right.
but good latitudes, good locations with good conjugate points, then we're going to get these whistlers and dawn chorus and
Yeah.
all of the other stuff that goes with it.
And I agree with that. And as I told you, you get to work with Gary and you get to pick out 20 sites that as long as you can find those 20 sites, you could put those at the 20 sites as long as the hosts are willing to take it.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but I still want at my house, I'd still like 2 of the production systems side by side. And I'd still like to run one, for some period of time unmodified. I'd still like to run one that we can play with. I'd really like to see what they look like side by side.
Well, okay. I mean, if that's what you want, then
yeah.
Okay. But I mean, it's gonna show the obvious. So
well, it may be obvious to you, but it's not. I don't think it's obvious to everybody else, and I think that's where we're struggling. And I think we really want to, and if we do it this way, if we leave one of the systems unmodified, you're still going to get the data you want from that system. And then if we do have the other system, we might be able to see something.
Well, I mean that's so I definitely agree with that. But what we have to get better at is we have to be more systematic with our experiments.
Yes.
Because our experiments have been like off the wall, not very organized. It's hard to tell what causes what, and that doesn't really produce fruitful results.
I completely agree with that.
And that was why that I originally mentioned early a bench test with an audio spectrum analyzer and an audio generator with these circuits to determine, to characterize this DC to DC converter path with and without a series capacitor to characterize that path, because that also hasn't been done.
Right.
And that's a much easier thing to do
Mm-hmm.
in terms of an experiment than to
Mm-hmm.
set up a whole system.
Okay.
I know Elmer doesn't have a audio generator, but like this is so I think if as long as we're systematic with our experiments and we have a lot of control of the variables, we can understand better what's
Mm-hmm.
going on.
Right.
Because
and I guess I
yeah.
guess that's part of what I was trying to get at with putting two of these systems side by side over here, because two production systems, because they'd be the exact type that you're planning on deploying, and we just make small modifications to one of them.
Right. And another thing to remember
Mm-hmm.
is that we still need to ensure that the feed line to whatever antenna
Yeah.
that we're comparing it, that we're sighting it with, whatever HF antenna that we're sighting it with,
Mm-hmm.
we need to ensure that that does not contribute to the power line hum.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can test um, uh, um, a separate system.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're contributing power line hum because of the other antenna and the other feed line, then it's also not a very good test, because we're not controlling these variables.
Right.
And I don't really know if that part has been figured out yet. Because now Elmer did use the T11s,
Right.
of course.
Right.
But I mean, do we really know or understand the path in terms of power line harmonics? Not only the signal path, but the
Mm-hmm.
power path as well. I like I don't know if that is really understood, because that's kind of it again also has not been systematically tested in an organized way to understand those characteristics. So my hesitation is that that will go through all of this work and still not come to any conclusions, because our experiments and our tests are not systematic and are not organized.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my main concern.
That makes sense. With that, okay, yes, I can agree with that. How would you, what do you propose? I mean, I guess I'd still like to have two of the production systems up at my house.
Yeah. And so I mean we can do that.
Yeah.
And then Elmer could put on whatever.
On Great. Because you are making, 20, 25 of these systems regardless. And we already have the coax run at my house. And I'm trying to make a complete station here at my house too. So I think it would be appropriate to have that up here. And then I do agree that, but you're basically, your job is just to make these systems with
Yeah.
the original design. And after you make them, I agree that doing more systematic bench testing would make sense, but still having a couple working ones with full production systems at my house running is a good way to test out hardware and have a real field test right here in near Scranton.
Oh yes, yes. I absolutely agree. But when we do,
Mm-hmm.
we need to, as I said, make sure that we're really controlling the variables as much as possible, and not introducing more PATs for Powerline hum egress ingress,
Mm-hmm.
because like it's with with some of the testing that like you and Elmer have 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 done, it just didn't seem that conclusive.
Yeah.
So and we need to, like, instead of coming up with like various, like, battery systems or they're all great ideas.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's exactly why I want to have two production systems that are identical. Just
right,
yeah,
right, and
because I agree, we need to try to eliminate as many variables as possible. And then I also want to have it in a situation where those two identical systems are actually recording numbers to disk that we can look at later, and not just be like, oh, let's take a screenshot here. How does this sound? Did we see it change from this to that? Like, if we have two identical systems, and even those two identical systems, let them run unmodified for a while to show that they are in fact identical, which I'm told is unlikely that they will be. But like, just get two production systems up here, and let's not modify them for a while. Let's just run them and see how they perform.
yeah, that's, right, and this sounds good. This sounds like a good, like a good way to approach this.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say that when we're doing this testing,
Mm-hmm.
we somebody has to figure out or understand the contribution to powerline harmonics from the HF antenna. And it may be that the T11 is good enough for the signal, but there might be some leakage through power, through the power power feed line. So
and for some of these tests, like, we can turn off, disconnect the HF antenna for some period of time too, to, like, if we think that's going to help us with our testing.
Well, I think that would, like to understand the contribution, or to really understand the difference between these the added filters, or at least the series capacitor, and not. We cannot have any other sources of power line hum.
Yeah,
because
out in the backfield, what if we have by where the VLF antennas are? I mean, what would you? I mean, I can't shut down my house completely, what how would you control the environment more to do this testing in a way that you think would be reasonable?
I do I I don't know if we can.
Yeah.
Now if we actually separate the systems by some distance, that might help.
What separate which systems?
Separate the HF antenna and the VLF systems.
Now that's easy to do because we already have it set up at the house where I have some HF receive antennas that are close to the house, and we can leave all the VLF antennas in the back field. We can totally disconnect the HF antennas from the back field.
And I mean, that might help. So then the first comparison would be the HF antennas close to the house versus a VLF system unmodified in the back field.
Right.
And then but that should be the first thing that we do. So we could understand or at least know that that we're not contributing or adding to power line hum to the VLF system. So we do that first.
Yeah.
And then if we determine that yes, there isn't any ingress, then the next stage is we set up the second system.
Okay.
And then we let both systems run, and we make sure that we get fairly identical data from them. We could set up the second system or the second antenna also in the far field.
Yes.
And then we run that for like a month or two. And then Elmer comes down and he makes his modifications, whatever they are.
Okay.
And then the hope would, well, so I just thought of something.
What's that?
So if Elmer makes the modification to the second system,
okay,
reducing some of the isolation, then that provides a path to the VLF system, to the non-modified VLF system, which could contaminate it.
Okay.
I just thought of that.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I do hate to say it, and it could complicate the testing, but it's true. It's the same thing that ground wire did. You could think of it that way. It won't be as conductive as the ground wire, but it would still be some conductivity which would transport some mains hum to the site if it's close together.
What if what if we ran a different path above ground to the other system? So we separated them out. Again, for a temporary test, we could run a new line, just lay it on the ground. and then you don't have the two lines running next to each other in the conduit.
Well, that's not it. It's so the path of ingress would be through the grounded terminal,
Okay.
through the earth ground.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that sense, it would be distance would also help in this case.
Mm-hmm.
So if we do contaminate the modified VLF antenna site
Mm-hmm.
of a far enough distance away from the non-modified one, and how long that or what that distance should be, I don't
Mm.
I can't really say for sure.
Yeah. I have another question. What about, like you've said and Elmer have said before, that the SAS antenna could be capable of receiving VLF, and that's a differential system that's not tied into the ground the same way. Would using that instead be better?
Well, that's an avenue to explore. But I don't know the characteristics of that antenna below 10 kilohertz. And I actually had spoken to Elmer about this because I was also curious, because his differential feed is actually quite effective.
Mm-hmm.
And because like so the ground terminal on my preamp, right, that gets rid of common mode noise.
Mm-hmm.
But the SAS has this differential feed, which is quite effective.
Right.
But for its response below 10 kilohertz, and I I I don't know.
So, but maybe is that the maybe that's the thing we should actually be testing. We could test the existing design of your VLF system against the against the VLF system running in SAS.
Well, yes, but to be an effective antenna
Mm-hmm.
at VLF at below 10 kilohertz,
Yeah.
and interfacing to a sound card,
Mm-hmm.
someone is going to have to think about the current design
Okay.
and possibly changing it.
Okay. Changing which part? The sound card,
No,
the interface to the sound card,
well, changing the SAS preamp, not changing it, but modifying the circuit, modifying the circuit of both the SAS preamp and the shack board.
Okay.
Um,
But do you think that maybe that's something Elmer would be interested in trying?
well, I asked him,
Yeah.
and his answer was, in so many words, the design is published to my website. You're free to do with it as you please.
No, Glenn said that.
Glenn, yes.
Yeah, Glenn. But right, yeah, so I know Glenn may not be up for making those modifications, but Elmer's spending a lot of time and effort trying to do these mitigations for the existing VLF design and creating these circuits. Do you think instead of him trying to create those power supply mitigations for the existing VLF design, do you think he would be capable or interested in trying to modify the SAS design?
I well, I I don't really know what he's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Because he put an SAS up in my backyard, so I've got one here.
well, what? Right, but like because I was looking at the circuit myself,
Okay.
and without delving too deep into it, which I really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It looks to me that some slight changes would have to be made, changes in component values, the addition of some added filtering, um, um, like um, a, uh, a 60 hertz high pass filter, you know, things like that. Like it's because I forget if there's filters on the actual in the preamp,
Mm-hmm.
but it's you know like it like someone is going to have to look at the design and say this is how we should change it. um, whether Elmer can or can't do that, I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if we do that, again, we're still going to have to do it in a very systematic way.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have to start with, at least if I was going to do it, it would be, we would start with a bench characterization,
Okay.
a deep dive into the circuit and a bench characterization with um, VLF observation technique in mind. Like so what I mean by that is what's the best way to build this antenna so I could get the best quality whistles and dawn chorus.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how you'd have to think
Right.
when you're actually designing this, because when Paul was designing his preamps, that's how he was thinking. What is the best way to get the best quality observations, right? And so
Right.
when Glenn was designing the SAS, he wasn't thinking about that because he was thinking about other things.
Right.
So he was thinking about like various issues, like what would be the best way to develop an antenna with a differential system that can produce good results with what he was looking for in the HF band.
Right.
Right, he was thinking that when he was designing this.
Right.
So if you want to make modifications to it,
Mm.
you also have to think the same way. How do we modify this
Mm-hmm.
or redesign it with making the best VLF observations in mind?
Yes.
And so I mean, I honestly think like the best thing to do would get Glenn involved. Someone would have to
Mm-hmm.
convince him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to pressure him,
Right.
but someone would have to talk to him.
Okay.
And the other thing is with Glenn, the VLF observation technique is new to him. He's never really did it before. So I mean, it would involve some working together, some discussion, because I tried to kind of glean, what I could from his responses for the questions that I had, but I never really asked him, like, if I was going to modify this with VLF reception in mind, um, um, where would I start? If I wanted to add filters, where would I add them? How would I do it?
Right.
Because since he has a
Yeah.
differential amp, it's not as straightforward. With the single-ended system, it is. You would use your circuit analysis techniques that you learned in class, but with the differential system, it's not as straightforward. So you have to design for a differential system. So like this isn't. It's there's some work involved in this to get it to where it would be useful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we could do it. But again, it's gonna take some work.
Right. Well, at least I guess I'm still looking for some possibility or some path forward where even if it does take some work, that we do get some system where we could put these at places that are sensitive to HF while still making good VLF observations. And so it sounds like there might still be some pathways forward. And I guess, yeah, I guess from when you said that it's really the ground path that is carrying that noise, and it seems like the SAS system might be the answer to taking care of that problem.
Yeah, and I mean, like I think that like if people are willing to work together and work on this, I think eventually we could actually achieve something useful, and something that may work, but this is something that, like, we would have to really work on and figure it out.
Yeah.
Because there might not be a path forward, but there might be. We don't really know.
Right. Right.
And I could only do so much. And, oftentimes, like when I take on these projects, it's often just me doing it. So there's it that's not going to probably go as fast as you wanted, and
Yeah.
I'm limited with time and everything else. So
Yeah.
but yeah, like if we work together, I mean, if you want to talk to Glenn, and ask him for help, perhaps he would want to help out. I don't know.
Okay. That sounds like a possibility.
But in the meantime, I'll just continue
making systems.
Yeah. And so I still have to test my preamp, like field test the preamp.
Right.
Because that hasn't been field tested. And I also have to figure out a layout for the interface board.
Right.
And I think that that we should be okay.
Right.
Now, now, I don't know what. So Elmer's preamps that he installed right now, I don't know. They don't seem to work right, or I don't know. Something is wrong, and
What?
I'm not getting.
Yeah. Which also gets back to why I want like to have the production, like the actual system up here.
Yeah, I mean, I I I I never really looked at a circuit.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's built. I don't know how he built it. I don't know if he made any wiring mistakes or anything like that. Um, for SAQ, I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really know what's wrong, but I'm also when I'm looking through like the natural radio events, I'm seeing a lot of noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on, but something isn't right. So I don't know if you want to have Elmer look at it closer.
How much longer until the new systems are going to be ready?
Mm, mm, I don't know. I have to design the actual circuit
Okay.
for the single channel VLF interface board. That's complete. That's to the point where it's where I want it. But I just have to finish the layout. And I don't want to rush that because I want to make sure that I'm as close to Paul's design as possible.
Yeah.
And I don't really have much to go by except a couple pictures from the board. And I'm trying to I have a couple pictures and I'm trying to figure out the how he did his ground planes. And I only have pictures of the top of the board.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to figure out how he did it. I think I understand how, but then I also have to figure out how I want to do mine, because I don't want I want to use the metal case, but I want to make sure that that the um, that there is no accidental shorts which can short this ground plane to the metal case, because that ground plane is technically part of the isolated part of the circuit, so it can't come in contact with the with the other side of the isolation or the other side of the loop. So I just have to figure that out, and then I should be ready. And how long that'll take, I don't know. I'm also in the process of trying to finish assembly of Paul's latest design of the GPS interface board. I have all of the parts, but I'm in in the process of trying to get everything soldered so I could build it, and I'm kind of I'm not really caught up on that because there has been other things that has hit the bench. I've kind of occupied with other things in my free time. So I don't have since I since I mainly only have the 5 hours. It's kind of been a little slow, but I'm trying to move trying to move it along as fast as I could.
If we were to allocate some additional hours, would that help?
It could, like, say 8 hours instead of 5.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's something that you can do. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I imagine. I think that's something we could talk about. And maybe tonight's not the or on
Right,
this
yeah,
on this
yeah.
Zoom call. Maybe now is not the right time to talk about it. But I
Right.
think that could be discussed.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's a possibility. And so I think um I I think at least I have a path forward. And
Okay.
like if you want to pursue these other options, such as using the SAS as an antenna, you can try. But again, it's not a it's a going to take some effort and some hours and a lot of discussion and a lot of testing. So
Okay.
it's and with testing in mind for purposes of VLF observation and very organized experiments,
Okay.
which like as of late, a lot of the experiments have not been organized.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
Yeah.
kind of like disconnected. I kind of said, okay, you guys do what you do, and I'll try to help as much as I could.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of because when you go off on all those tangents, things don't things get very very disorganized, and it doesn't really produce a lot of good results. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, if we could get things a little bit more controlled, then I think we'll have a better time.
Okay. Well, I think the key thing right now is to just keep focusing on getting the systems, built with the current design. I do want to see at least one of those systems at my house, possibly two. And then, as I said, have you work with Gary, or or find volunteers yourself through the VLF group or other places that you think will cite these with the design you have. And then I think get them out there so you can get the number one thing is to get the network built. And then we once we get that built, we do keep trying to figure out how to make it compatible with other locations.
Yeah, yeah, and um, we're gonna have to have a meeting with Gary, because so the logistical requirements are a little bit more complex because there's more parts involved
Mm-hmm.
with these systems. Like
What?
like
Yeah.
like with the mast and the hardware for the mast
Yeah.
and the setup of of the interface boxes, which I try to make as simple and easy as possible. Um, but there's it's a logistically it's a little bit more complex.
Right. Do you
So
want me to are you looking, do you want to schedule that meeting with Gary sooner, or do you want to keep working on the building first?
I'm going to keep working on the build first,
Okay.
but I think if we do schedule any meetings, we should definitely schedule a meeting with Bill Engelke,
Angle K.
Christine, or
Christina.
Christina, because we currently have willing volunteers right now that can contribute data.
Right.
So like whenever we could discuss that. I was thinking if it was possible, maybe next Friday, and and then and and then perhaps maybe you could talk to Bill beforehand and kind of calm his nerves a little bit, because he was a little he was apprehensive about the whole thing, and I don't want to make him any more nervous about it, or you know just kind of like uh well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
um and
So
I'm
yeah.
and and I'm also still working on some slides that I will provide to you and Christina and Bill, which talk about the available data products from the systems.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has an idea of what we're expecting, and
Okay.
and
Yeah, I agree with that.
because there's some confusion about that too. There's actually multiple data. There's like multiple data products. Because I I think technically, like, so the RX 888 system that gives you right now at least two data products.
Mm-hmm.
The obviously the spot data and the um, time beacon carriers, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
with the grapes, they give, well, it's all like there's not a lot of data products for each of the systems, but for the VLF system, there's like multiple data products,
Mm-hmm.
which speaks for how powerful the software is, but it can be confusing, and I think that's why um, why Bill kind of had this hesitation, because oh geez, there's all these data products. What do we do? How do we set this up? So that I wanted to do the slides to kind of make it a little easier for everybody to understand, because we get like four, yeah, we get raw data, we get natural radio emissions, we get both time series uh, data for VLF transmitters. We get compressed spectrogram data for the bandwidth that we're listening to. And we also get time of group arrival of spherics.
Mm-hmm.
those are the main data products that we get, and we also get like SAQ and Powerline, plots, and time series spheric data for like individual analysis. So that's like 6 or 7 data products right there. So it's a lot. It's quite a bit compared to the other systems. So
Yeah.
I wanted to. So I will get that slide deck finished as soon as I can,
Okay.
and then pass it around, and then hopefully 2 Fridays from now, we could have some bit of a discussion.
That sounds good. I will try to get people. I'll just send an email right now to everyone. So this is going to be for Friday, November 7th, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Angle key. Christina Rizzo. VLF. So say VLF data discussion on Friday, November 7th. Hi, Bill and Christina. Would it be possible to have a discussion with Jonathan and me on Friday, November 7th for regarding VLF data? Jonathan and I are fairly flexible with our time that day. Is that a true statement, Jonathan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Please let us know what will work for you. Thanks. And 73, Nathaniel. Sound good?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. All right.
Yeah. And because I'm pretty much free the whole day. So so hopefully they could find some time, and then in the meantime, what I will be doing is I'll be working on these slide decks, just so they have an idea of kind of data products that we'll get.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. So
and I know you already put a detailed entry into the design charrette thing.
yeah.
So.
Yeah. So these slides should make that much more clear, because they could actually see what I'm talking about.
Right.
So I will work on that. I will try to make that a priority for the next 2 weeks to get that done, and then we'll just go from there.
That sounds really good, Jonathan. Thank you.
All right. Good. Okay then. That's all I have for general discussion. We could give it back to the group.
Thanks. Not sure how many people are still here. It's 10:45. Got a few. I think I'm gonna go get some sleep before I get up tomorrow morning. Got a exciting day of teaching engineering 150, and then my digital signal processing class is taking an exam, and all sorts of stuff going on.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I apologize for keeping you so long.
No, I'm glad we were able to have this discussion. I think it was important.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it was definitely very fruitful. So
yeah.
Okay then, you have a good night.
Thanks, you too, Jonathan. Talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks. Bye bye.
Good night, everyone.